So how is everybody? How are you doing? I'm sorry about the mix-up of time and the emails. I must.
That's all right.
I thought I was being so clever getting Brenda to schedule it well in advance. I didn't check what she'd done. Uh, yeah, never mind. We're all here.
We're all here, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe for you, actually, and because it's such a long span, maybe two email reminders would be useful a week before,
Yeah,
just to clarify.
yeah,
And
Yeah,
then
it'd be
a
yes.
good.
second. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll make a
Yep.
note to myself and to get it in the right time zone.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So who's been working with what? If anybody's been working with anything.
I'll,
Um,
I'll, you go,
go.
Chris.
No, sorry. Oh, wait.
Um, from your platform, which I enjoy, I use the vision and the breath, so the stuff to get me in presence, really, in presence and into spatial awareness.
Hmm.
The most I use that the most often, and then on and off I'll dip into something new or something different or something I know I need, elbows or sternum or um, coming up on toes, or and then sometimes maybe something randomly from further ahead just to see what's up further ahead. But on a personal level, more my work at the moment is to work out and to integrate. I started strength training 5 months ago, some serious strength training,
Mm-hmm.
and that seems like it's antagonistic to the Alexander technique. And I was, worried about injuries and worried how I'd go. Have done and doing really well, bringing the Alexander technique to it. But it's it's interesting and challenging and making it's a work in progress about how to work out the thinking around it, because it's being on one level it's being a lot more beneficial than I suspected, and not just for strength, like making the whole body lines and the whole body volume a lot, just bang, just a lot more consciousness and proprioception. So that's sort of challenging some of the underlying Alexander stuff for me. My back line is much more conscious because you're lifting heavy weights totally in your back line, and your front line has to be there, otherwise you couldn't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's sort of
Weights are fantastic for waking stuff up, aren't they? You have to. You just have to come conscious. Yeah. Carry
so
on.
and because they're heavy and you can injure yourself, there's a certain amount of adrenaline, I'm really alert not to injure myself. So it's challenging for me I'm working, and I've had to do that with physio, trying to integrate physio and Alexander, and obviously they never totally integrate. And I think where they overlap is probably the interest. And same with this strength training, it's quite interesting that obviously there's also risks, and I can be really stiff. And then I'm wondering, am I losing subtleness because now my body is stiffer? Is that the price I pay? And then sometimes I'm not. I can get out of that. I can release out of that and why. So it's sort of a work in progress at the moment, quite positive. It's quite exciting. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, of course, I'm on the same journey myself. It's what we're exploring in our fitness group. Um, and I have various um, thoughts on it. One is that when they say, bicep curl, now squeeze that bicep, I don't. I think the opposite side, I think the overall integration. And we were talking yesterday, actually, yesterday evening when we met, about rather than thinking of the bicep working, I think of the goal of the movement, which is to bring the weight from there to here. And that I think looks after the bicep. So one can, which is the Gabby Wolf stuff. You get a better integration if you think about the goal of movement rather than the muscle that's making the movement. And the weight takes care of the fact that the bicep will grow. I now have, people are giving me hugs and going, oh, there's muscle, which is very nice. Um, so one thought. I mean, I guess you're playing with that one. Um,
Well, see, that's the difference. The weight training I'm doing, there's only like three basic exercises, and I use
yeah,
the whole body.
you're doing the pure osteoporosis one, aren't you? The three heavy lifts.
There's three heavy lifts.
Yeah.
So you're really exhausted and getting to almost your limit, and you're working everything. You cannot work one muscle anyway.
No, no, it's integrated movement, which one does with the deep fitness. Exactly. You might be doing a plank, but actually it's not just your arms working, the whole body
No,
is working.
well, no, you've got the weight rack. So this is,
Yes.
you got
Yes, I haven't done weight racks, but I've watched my daughter do it. Um, and it's impressive. The one about the muscle stiff, but I still think the principle is the same. You can't, you're
I
not
think
just
so
thinking
too.
about lifting that
No,
weight.
I think about the floor coming up and staying outside and totally, out and getting my elbows into the back line. Just, my neck is one of the biggest things because you can have bad neck posture
Yeah,
and still lift the weight. So that's one of the biggest things to really try and
yeah.
keep that. And I work with Penny McDonald, and she suggested having on the bench press, putting a book under the head. And that I've only done it once so far. It was just a week ago, but that seems to help the spine, and to get the abdominal supporting while
I
you do
I think
while you're
that
doing that bench press. Yeah,
yeah, I think that deep front line, the one that comes the deepest of the deep front line that comes
yeah,
right
yeah.
through to the front of the neck, because I find then I don't want the book. It really brings the neck spine strong, and that actually makes my neck is so much stronger than it was. I mean, that's one of the things I'm really aware of. And it's much more comfortable as a result. We, as you've said before, strength is non-negotiable, and it does challenge our Alexander assumptions because that you read Trevelyan's diary. Now, muscle is dead. Oh no, it isn't. It's just that you're not thinking about muscle specifically, but it doesn't mean. I think I wonder if some of this came from the fact that so many of the dominant voices were men, and men tend to overuse their muscles because they have more natural strength than women. Whereas Goldie, Barlow, Erica Whittaker probably actually had to find their strength because they were, well, Goldie and Barlow were both fragile and they had to develop strength. So, and their voices didn't get heard. Um, because I think, well, as you know, I think strength was much more part of Alexander's work than we know. The stiffness one is interesting. I've come away from strong sessions feeling sympathetically activated and stiffer. And my solution is to really let that, let my eyes lead, let the breath happen, just bringing that pure Goldie stuff to bring myself back into fluidity. Um, have you,
I've
because,
worked a lot. Yes, I've worked a lot with releasing and widening, and it's great, and it makes a huge difference. But if the weight gets too heavy, and that's sort of some of the learning and playing around with too, because we're seeing a trainer, and they push you. So last week I said the big no, I'm not lifting this. So
yeah,
we can. And he had to drop the weight and increase the repetitions for the first time because it's been up for 5 months. And for the last three times I've said I'm getting close to my limit, and he says I hear you, and increases it.
and I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because if it's
And
too, you,
and I felt like I wasn't under. I felt like I no longer had full control of my body, and I thought this does not feel totally
yeah,
safe to,
yeah.
like I would have. Yeah,
No, I think you're absolutely right because otherwise it just pulls your form out. Um, I'm aware of that. Triceps dips is the one I'm really aware of. If I take a weight above my head and then take it behind the head and have to bring it up again, and I can do it with 6 kilogram, but if I go to 8 kilogram, I'm being dragged. And some days I can't even do it with 6 kilogram. I have to drop to 5. And I was thinking, oh, I've got to push the 6. And I've realized, no, actually, that's counterproductive. I think it's better to do it with the 5 and get the form right because then I'm getting the whole integration of this to keep, because that is needed to bring that weight up again. Um, Otherwise, one ends up using all sorts of odd things to do the movement. Overall, I'm stronger. There are days I have to drop the weights down. I think, I think that's just sensible, isn't it? Even though the trainers don't like it because they want you to see you. At some point, I must find a gym doing this stuff if there is one in Edinburgh. Um, I was thinking of getting a hex bar. Do you know about hex bars?
Is it like in a lift bar?
Well, it's like a lift bar, but it goes all the way around you.
Ah, yeah. Yes, I am aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, have you tried one?
No, I
Yeah.
think no.
Yeah, it was
I,
Malcolm Book who said you only need one movement with it because actually it's all the way around you, it's actually bringing in all the muscles together. So, hmm. Was there another point there you wanted? But I think that's so interesting, bringing you into your volume. I mean, I feel so much more stable with more strength, funnily
yeah.
enough.
Hmm.
Mm, yeah, lovely. Anything else you wanted to follow through on that one?
Like I say, it's a work in progress, and I feel I have to go into the. I do go into the discomfort. It's a different training,
Yeah,
as long as I can still feel the floor coming up, and the other thing that is, I don't want to make a big thing of it. We've now accepted it and it seems to work, and we've googled it and stuff. You have to hold your breath for this weight training.
okay.
It's
Yeah, that
um
that's
so
trickier.
yeah, that was worrying me. It doesn't worry me now anymore. It doesn't seem
Right.
to be an issue, and it gives me safety and strength and actually gets everything working together. If I don't do that, I can't lift the weights and it's not working together enough. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
so I've heard Malcolm Bork talk about this, that you have to take a big in breath and then fix the abdomen.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But it's not like it doesn't feel wrong anymore. It actually feels, again, one of these things that now when I'm not doing it, it's just a lot more tone all around. It's
Yeah.
bringing everything in to lift that weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the thing that sort of I've found hard is, as soon as you say you're weightlifting and they know I'm a physio and whatever else, they've all got a story of someone totally injuring themselves, but they weren't. So I've always got that in the back of my mind. But they weren't aware of their body. It's not like I think you still have to bring your own awareness to it and also say no when it's not right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, the nervous system will sort anything if you give it time. You've got to, and a phrase we have in our family is take risks safely.
Mm.
I mean,
It sounds
my husband was a rally driver. He was a champion rally driver in his youth. An awful lot of his colleagues died in that period. There were no safety helmets, there were no safety belts, there were no roll bars. If you had an accident, you were dead. And he assumed he would die, but he took risks safely. So he is now 90 and still driving. And
mm,
a lot of his friends from that time are dead. Take risks safely. That's what we're doing, isn't it? Interestingly, at the start of a rally, everybody would whiz off, and he and his navigators would sit on the starting line and meticulously plan the route, and then they'd go. So they really thought through their means whereby before they set off. Um, it was Alexander, as it were. We've got to do this, haven't we? And the more you keep aware, of course, the more you prime the CPGs with all the information they need in order to take risks safely.
mm.
I'm so aware with my broken wrist that if I listen to my body intelligence, it tells me exactly what I can and can't do. It's now allowing me to take leaps again. And, for months, it wouldn't even let me balance on a little stone. It's like, no, just don't go there because it just felt too vulnerable. And now it's saying, yeah, it's fine. You can leap on that wall if you want and leap off again. And it's wonderful. It's taken 18 months. That's okay. It's and I wonder if with this strength training, I mean, I know the fitness goal is to keep building muscle forever. But
No,
I wonder for an
yeah,
older woman whether that is so, that there's the decline going on and that you're actually maintaining a muscle level.
yeah. The guy, I don't know how much the guy we're working with. I mean, he's worked with people probably for 20 years. and the older population. He reckons, I mean, this is his guess, we've probably got another 3 to 5 years of increase in strength, and then it'll be slowing the loss.
Yes, yes. So it's so you get the gain for a certain point and then you plateau, and your aim is to keep that plateau.
You'll lose probably, you'll have
You'll
to,
lose.
but a lot slower than otherwise.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you've raised it to start with so that you're starting with a higher bar. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I wondered what the model was on that.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Um, okay. Have you done specific neck strengthening work? Because
Me?
yeah, because I mean these was
Um, yes and no. Yes, we used to train in physio. Um,
because if everyone else is interested, one of the things we can do today is how to do an ab curl in an Alexander way, an ab crunch without crunching.
The
Because
I can do most exercises, but not so when you crunch up and reach for each foot, that just my neck, I cannot work out how to look after my head neck in that activity.
yeah, yeah, yes, you're not doing my fitness one either, are you? No, no. Let's look at that then, because necks are incredibly vulnerable, I think, and we're supposed to be all about the neck, but actually, we're not in a way. Um, yeah, okay, Chris, sound away.
Well, I found what you were talking about interesting, of course. Since we last met, I've had a double bypass,
Oh gosh, and
and
you're
I'm
still
about
alive. Yes,
I am about week 12, 13 into recovery.
right.
And at week 6, for the first time in my life, I entered a gym in part of a cardio rehab program. And there were 7 stations. There were treadmills, rowing machines, weights, wheelie things. So I was introduced to something I'd never really considered before. I always sort of avoided gymnasiums because I used to, if I ever walked past one, I used to sort of see just a cesspit of poor use. And I thought, no, not that. But anyway, it's been slow. It's been slow progress and slow. Um, I'm upping the speed on the treadmill and the rowing machines and things like that gradually because I get quite tired. Um, but it's been interesting from an Alexander point of view. It's observing the others in the group. The tendency to drop the head a lot is very common. And I just really take my time. I'm not really pushing for, I extend myself gently. I think that's probably about the best way I can put it to do what I have to do. But I still come away, after it, I am quite tired from it. So it must be having some good effect. Yeah. So that's where I am. And coming back to the abs thing, I probably would just watch rather than participate because this is still mending. It takes about 16 weeks, evidently, before it's sort of back to reasonably good strength and you can't damage the sternum too much. But
Sure, yeah, that makes
it's
sense.
it's been an interesting journey in
Yes,
terms of, like the technique has been very helpful. Like when I first came out of the op, I was really bracing the shoulders against pain and cold, and this shoulder sort of wouldn't come down. I'm getting it down. I've actually had to do dart flipper movements to open it up more and getting releasing it. I've also got some very good alternative health practitioners that help me. One guy that does tweener and acupuncture and another ex-chiropractor who gives me some good work. Yeah.
Using the gentle elbow pulls help as well with that.
Yeah, I think, I've done a little bit of that. I'm tending to do quite a lot of breathing processes using Qigong, because I think that was affected, the amount of breath that you can get in after an operation like that. It's incredible. Like I felt as though my capacity was limited. But now I'm starting to get that sort of really nice feel of a full breath. But I think there's a way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that whole chest area has been traumatized for you,
Well,
isn't it? And
it has, yeah.
the lungs are going to hold same as everything else. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking of Shelley, who you'll have seen on the recordings from the main Goldie group. And I think she had, maybe she didn't talk about it in the Goldie, I forget, that she had a major neck operation a couple of years ago. And when she came out of it, she said the pain was just horrendous. And she said the pulls got her through. Just
Mm,
just gently opening up
yeah,
the pulls just helped
yeah,
control the pain and control the whole thing.
yeah.
She said they were
One of
like,
one of the things I appreciated about the sort of the post precautions that you needed to take, you needed to keep your arms, what they called it, inside the tube. So it's
right,
like you have a tube around you, and you weren't you shouldn't go outside the
okay,
tube. You kind of keep the
yeah. So
and not
actually
to
elbow
lose.
pulls aren't an option.
Yeah.
So are you're through that now, of course.
Well, yeah, I think I can probably
Yeah.
do those,
Well, if you're doing
gradually.
gym stuff,
Everything, yeah, everything gradually again. Yeah.
huge thing to go through, Chris.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm here.
Mm.
The day I had the operation, the next day I was meant to fly out to Fiji for 3 weeks, for 5 weeks. And that was put on hold.
That didn't happen. Yes, so it was
So
sudden.
I didn't get my winter retreat in the tropics.
Next year.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
Wow. So, Sandra, two huge stories there. Where is that?
So exciting. Yeah, for me, I've been, training for a few years, quite a few years now, actually. It's
In
probably in the gym, yeah, so with a trainer, much to his frustration because I don't do what he tells me because I'm an Alexander teacher. And so I work within, he's very young, so he's real gung-ho. So I just work within my sort of working out what I actually need from each of the exercises and how best I can do it. And sort of probably in the last, probably since we've started working, really working much better, really starting to get some strength and confidence in having that strength. Yeah, just sort of challenging that belief system around, fading out.
fading out,
Fading out, that everything's going to go into
that we have to age in a fading out way. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, sort of now, every time I start to get going quite well, something seems to happen and set me right back. But I'm in an okay place with that. And I've been, in terms of my teaching, I suppose, looking at the up on toes, freedom around the ankle and coming up on toes. And just beginning to start thinking of the lift in the sternum. I've been conscious that kind of been ignoring that bit.
Yeah. Yes, and it's playing with these things when you're ready. Have you been watching the other Goldie group recordings? No, no, that's fine. Elka, do you watch them? No, Chris?
No.
Oh, right, okay. So we have a clean sheet there. That's fine. Nobody's watched them. Good. Okay. So let's start with some more of the deep front line because I just think it is so integral. It's running behind your heart, Chris. It's it's shall we work lying down to start with? Would people prefer that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Try and get the computer place for them.
Yourself. So are you okay to lie down, Chris?
I think so. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get the camera to observe me.
So for those who are down there already, just finding spatial awareness. Sense of the ceiling's up there and I'm down here. Chris is still seeing if he can get his camera to see the floor.
I've got a Surface Pro, no, can't do it. I'll just listen.
Okay. Just being aware of that space between the ceiling, the floor, the back of your head. Letting the floor hold you up. And then let's just stay hello to where the neck is by letting the eyes lead around to the right. So that the head follows. And letting the eyes lead back to center so that the head follows. Letting the eyes go the other way. Back to center. Let's do that a couple of times. And then just being aware of the gentle impact that's having on the rest of me. My shoulders are releasing, my breath is freeing up. Just that gentle freeing of the anto-occipital. With the eyes leading. And we can go up and down as well, just gently taking the eyes up so that the chin comes up a little bit, the nose lifts up a little bit, taking the eyes down. So that we do get a gentle nod on the books. It's not so much one we do on the books, but I think it's quite fun to do this one on the books. letting the eyes lead. And of course, the attention leads the eyes. Just being aware of the back of the cheekbones where that centre of gravity is. And also the temporal bone, the temporals, sorry, not the temporal bone, the temples. A bit higher up. So we're really aware of the level where the eyes are as we do this. Bringing the mind a little bit higher in the brain. Notice whether that makes a difference. I thought that the head is actually rotating not just around the atlanto-occipital, but around the centre of gravity behind the cheekbones. Everyone okay with that concept? Yeah, you've all got cameras on, so yeah, good. Shout out if you're not, and I'll hear you. So you've all got microphones on, is what I tried to say. And just being aware of the breath in the abdomen, floating up and down. Right down to the base of the groin, right down into the inguinal tendon. Just being aware of it. So we've got that mind right above the eyes, but also consciousness right through to the pelvis. And that consciousness cloud is just witnessing what's happening in the belly, not directing it, just witnessing it. And that breath in the belly is happening from the bigger context of the polarity of the pelvic bowl and the skull. Just being aware of as the back of the belly wall drops back, there's a slight upwards pull, the very base of the rectus abdominis, back of the belly wall falling back from the back of the pubic bone, the out breath. The in-breath swelling throughout the whole torso. But the out-breath just falling back in that very base of the abdominal region, behind the pubic bone, where that lowest part of the rectus abdominis attaches, just gently pulling back and up. Let's just send a bit of weight down into the feet. Letting the pubococcygeals pull forward a little bit up towards the ceiling. The weight pulls down into the feet. We start to come into a little micro bridge. And as you do this, then think about the anus just softening down. And what happens if you stop at that micro bridge point, just letting the pubic bone being drawn up a little bit, the lowest part of the rectus abdominis and the belly is falling back, the anus is softening back. That changes when you do that. If anyone likes to comment, please call out.
A widening of the floor.
A widening, lovely. I've been using this one recently for people who, when they try and do a bridge, they go into spasm in the abdomen and it seems to stop it. It allows them to stay embodied. A widening, that's lovely.
Breathing freed up.
Sorry?
Breathing freed up.
Breathing freed up, yeah. Yes, I think it really sort of lengthens the pelvic floor, front to back. So many people have such a tight pelvic floor. I suspect it helps give it an expanding. Even as we're putting a little bit of upward pull on it, we're actually bringing it a bit more into expansion as we do that, if that makes sense. And that also creates space for the coccyx. I did this with someone the other day who realised as a result that his coccyx actually was a bit sort of curled under and stiff. So just tuning into the fact that your little coccyx bone, there's 4 or 5 or 6 little vertebrae, people have different numbers and different ways in which they're fused, but all coccyxes are supposed to be able to float outwards, sort of downwards, on the in-breath and come back up again, curling in, as it were, on the out-breath, as if it's a sort of a dog who's feeling ashamed on the out-breath and then a dog with a waggy tail on the in-breath. So just bringing that coccyx into consciousness for a moment, if you can. That breath right in the back of the pelvic floor and the coccyx itself. Still being aware of the back behind the cheekbones, not losing that awareness too. And letting the whole spine just lengthen gently between these 2 points.
I'm also feeling some letting go of deep to the glute medius, and I think probably there must be more activation in the psoas.
Say that again, Elka. You're letting go of the.
It feels like the glute medius, the one,
Yes.
which is over tight in there, and the psoas is coming in more, but gently, yeah.
Nice. Lovely. Just another couple of breaths with that, with the coccyx. Can you find this, Sandra?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you okay?
Yeah.
So then let's bring in awareness of the psoas. That falling back of the belly on the out breath. Deep along the back wall of the abdomen. And again, as we do that, Being aware of not losing the top of the head. All this is happening within the wider context. Top of the head to the coccyx, to the tail, right down to the feet. And the psoas is falling back and up, or drawing back and up, following the diaphragm on the out-breath. It's on the out-breath, the diaphragm is pulling up, releasing up. Its feet, its crura that extends down the lumbar spine are in fascial continuity with the psoas. My image, I don't know whether it's correct or not, but my image is that as the diaphragm contracts back up, it doesn't contract, it releases back up, that actually that release pulls the psoas after it. So let's do something we were doing with the fitness work yesterday, actually, which is a spiral, a side twist. And so we found the psoas in an up-down plane. Now let's find from your right hip, where the psoas comes across through to the left kidney. And as you do that, you find that deep cross pull. Let your eyes go that way, but let your legs go the other way. So your legs go sideways, taking you into a pelvic twist. But this cross pull, so my legs are going to the right, this cross pull from the right hip to the left kidney is supporting that. And then as my eyes also take my head to the left, my whole spine, the whole length of the spine goes into a gentle twist. If you can find that. And then coming up again and having another go. So the legs are going to the right. Maybe pulled by the lower obliques. And then we've got this cross direction, right hip to left kidney, which means that we're getting support from the psoas muscles in the other direction. And as your head also turns left, just being aware of the twist that then happens as the knees go further and further to the right, and the head go further and further to the left. There's a spiral happening all the way up the spine. And coming back up again, and going the other way. Take it in your own time. So now the knees are coming across to the left. The lower obliques are bringing the groin across, which is tilting the pelvis left. The legs would fall if we didn't support them. And the support is coming from a cross pull now from the left hip through to the right kidney, which is creating a stabilizer on the movement so that the ball of the legs is controlled and the eyes are also twisting right. You get a twist up the whole spine. And when you're ready, coming up again, do it again. Legs falling, being pulled across to the left, and then this stabilizing pull to the right, which is twisting the whole spine. The bottom of it going left, the top of it going right. And to bring the legs up again, you can also think that cross pull, left hip to right kidney, to help sort of give the legs a support in coming up again. You can also think into the oblique in the right groin. Let's do that a couple more times. So you can take your legs as far over as you want, Elka. You can take them all the way, and that cross pull is supporting them in that movement because they fell a bit, didn't they, there? So how stable can you make the movement? So you might also bring in the lower oblique if you just stroke with your hand. As you take the legs to the right, stroke the lower oblique with your left hand. So take the legs to the right. Okay, take the legs and stroke that one. So that's thinking to support the legs. Yeah, does that make sense? That's it. That's easier, isn't it? That's a more supported movement. And then give it a pull in that point to bring the legs up. So you're not trying to bring the legs up from the hips, you're bringing them up from that deep point. That's it. So control the movement from that internal oblique. Yeah, that's it. And then if you bring in that deeper cross pull, that will take you right into the spine and the movement of the neck. That's it. And now use those cross pulls on the left to bring yourself up again. Is that different?
Yes, it's more supportive. Yeah. I was trying to do it from the hip to and then that's why I couldn't go any further because then I would lose. I think
Yes.
I was couldn't do it. Yeah. Yes, that's much more allowing them.
Yeah, so you're getting a whole twist on the lower body, but the ribs are going in the other way. The lower body's going one way, the ribs are actually staying pretty still. And the shoulders, both shoulders should ideally stay on the ground. That's it. Nice. Sandra, are you okay with this? Yeah, I notice your lower leg is falling out a bit. See if you can keep the legs together so that they're both supported together in the movement.
I get it.
Yeah? Make more sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're really, it looks like a flexibility exercise, but we're really working stability in the lower body with this one, the cross twists. Chris, you okay?
Yes, I'm good, thanks. Following it.
Good. Good. Yeah, I mean, you'll only want to do micro movements at the moment, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other version, Sandra, is to put, and Elka, is to put one foot up, one knee on the other knee. So if I've got my left foot on my right knee, then I twist the lower body to the right. So I go towards the leg that's down. And again, you've got an added weight on that. And you're really, so the legs are already together, but you're really stabilizing that movement from the opposite groin. And again, to bring them up, you're working the groin, the obliques. That's nice, Elka. Now see if you can do it half speed. Really work those obliques so the legs don't fall. The whole thing is very controlled. That's it. Just keep it working, keep it working, keep it working, keep it working. That's it. And now really work into that groin to bring it up again. That's it. Now you're working. I think you're tucking the right leg quite a long way under the left knee. Bring it back center. So when you position the legs, they're hips width apart. You can actually leave them hips width apart. I think you were taking your leg a long way across. Just keep it on alignment.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
That's better, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah. So this is a movement you can just take slower and slower and slower just to, again, build up that strength in the abdominal muscles that will, I guess, then help the weightlifting.
Oh, we changed the side, so we can do some more.
Yeah, yes, change the side when you're ready. Sorry, I'm not obviously pretty cold in Taz at the moment.
Yeah, we've had a lot of snow on the mountain.
Yeah. So Sandra, your head's right to the side of the legs are the other way. Yep, that's fine. You're taking yeah, lovely. So I think this is an amazing way of actually finding the spine. You know, I get more of a sense of my spine doing this at sort of quite a deep level. Are you noticing that? It's a different way of encountering one's spine.
Yeah, I've never done this way.
Yeah, that's again, I'd say slow it down, Elka. Slow it right down, particularly the very first part of the movement. Don't let that leg fall. Just really keep the groins in the other play in the right hand groins really working. That's it. Yes. So that it's a very sustained movement, and as it's happening, the head is coming the other way, led by the eyes. So the dance thing, the Delsart thing is that whatever the movement of the head is and the legs, they want to be happening in the same sequence. So they both want to finish their range at the same time. It's quite hard to do in this one. But yeah, okay. So now we know where our spines are. Let's think about doing an ab crunch. So let's find our deep front line from there. We found our coccyxes, and the anterior longitudinal ligament starts on the underside of the coccyx, or the anterior face of the coccyx, and then it comes up the anterior face of the sacrum. Then it comes up the front of the lumbar spine, and there it's running with the psoas. Then it's running with the feet of the diaphragm in the lumbar. Then it's coming through the diaphragm, behind the diaphragm, and beginning to run up the lower thoracic vertebrae. And at this point, it must be behind the heart. And then it's coming up the upper thoracic vertebrae, it's behind the lungs. And then it comes through the thoracic inlet at the base of the neck, and it's coming up behind the esophagus, the trachea. And this is where you might notice your chin being drawn down as the deep neck flexors activate, as it's running along the deep neck flexors. And it's running to the occiput. And then we're going to bring it a little bit higher, just to notice it, lifting the back of the soft palate and up to the brighten behind the eyes, which is a little lifting or freeing up the sphenoid bone. Just giving that slight lift to the eyes. Okay. Everyone okay with this, or do we want to do it again?
Do it again, yeah.
Do it again, yeah. So, just finding that front of the coccyx. The anterior longitudinal ligament running up the front of the coccyx, and then it's running up the front of the sacrum. And then it's running up the lumbar spine with the psoas. It's inviting the psoas to engage. You might notice your back flattening on the floor as the psoas engages, and that engages the erector sphene and wakes up the whole support of the lumbar region. And it's going with the base of the diaphragm. And then it comes behind the diaphragm and into the thoracic region. It's coming along the lower thoracic spine. It's coming behind the heart. It's coming behind the lungs as it comes up that thoracic cavity, right to the top of the thoracic cavity where there's lots of blood vessels in the thoracic inlet. And then it comes to the base of the neck spine. And it's running up the neck spine. And that's helping to engage the deep neck flexors. And you might be aware of it wanting to pull your chin down slightly, because they are the only muscles that directly flex the head forward. It's coming up to the occiput. And then, although this isn't a fascial continuity, we're then taking the direction up to think about lifting the soft palate, or letting it lift the soft palate, and then up behind the eyes. That sense of brightening behind the eyes. And up to the temporal bone, the temples. How's that? One more time, or have you got that now?
I'm good.
Sorry, somebody said all good and somebody said one more time, is that right?
I'm good.
You're good. Elke, you okay?
Yes, I'm good. That's good to hear. Yeah.
You're with it now, right, good. So, let's now bring this into an ab crunch. So what we're going to do is we're going to start again at the bottom. You might like to watch me first. And so I'm just going to think that length, that coccyx, sacrum, lumbar spine, diaphragm, behind the heart, behind the lungs, behind the thoracic inlet, along the neck spine, and up to the thoracic inlet. And then at the same time, I'm also going to think my superficial back line up the back of the body, and that's going to think my crown coming in the biggest way out so that the deep neck flexors can then come in and the psoas can come in to take me into a curl, but I've got the biggest possible arc going with the superficial back line. And then I'm going to think my lateral line, which comes up the sternocleidomastoids to bring the neck down again, while keeping all the rest going. So I've got 3 lines going. So we've got the deep front line that we found, just finding your superficial back line, which is coming even right from the full soles of the feet, up the back of the legs, up the back of the body, the erector sphene, up along the back of the neck, and it's then coming over, if you remember, right to the scalp fascia, but bringing in the crown. So I'm thinking that all that way into the biggest possible arc, and then my deep neck flexors and my this deep front line is the one that's actually doing the ab curl. And then if you think that lateral line, so you can actually take hold of your mastoid bones and just gently stretch the neck away to come down. I actually find the coming down much harder than the coming up. So the sternocleidomastoids come up behind the ears, and I find just really thinking that long as I come down again helps that downward journey. Does that make sense? Have a go? That's it, Elka. So you're coming up in the biggest possible arc. And the abs actually, far from crunching, actually stay quite soft. I mean, they're working, but they come into play as a result of the core muscles. We're not just scrunching them. That's it. You're keeping the biggest possible length. That's it. And keeping stretching it out, Elka, as you come back again. That's it. How is that?
Hard work.
Hard work. Heads are heavy. Yeah, I mean, my head used to go into such pain if I did anything like this, and it's much stronger now. I've been doing this for probably a year, and it's made a hell of a difference. Um, just working at it whenever I do an exercise which involves this, maybe twice a week. Elka, what you're doing actually is I think you're doing this. You're just bringing the neck up rather than bringing the whole upper thoracic up. So don't just let the neck come forward from the base of the neck. Keep the neck on line with the thoracic spine as it comes so that it actually lifts the up to T8. You're actually lifting that whole upper thoracic forward as well.
I think I was doing that.
You think you were? Yeah. I mean, it's possible you were.
I have enough going.
So imagine I'm behind you holding your head as you come up and not letting the head come forward on the neck spine, as it not letting the neck spine come forward from the thoracic. That's it. Yes, yes. Yes, that is happening. Good.
So it's really, so you also really using the upper rectus abdominis.
Yes. But I mean, the upper rectus abdominis will come into play. I'm actually aware of lengthening. It's working, but what I'm not letting it do, the classic ab crunch, people actually shorten that distance between the ribs and the hips.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of I mean, there is some, but I don't want my lower ribs just pulling down to the hips in a way that scrunches, I mean, they call them scrunches and crunches, don't they? In a way that crunches those upper abs. I want more of a sense that the spine is lengthening from the back. And a certain amount of tension has to come in there because it has to, not because it's leading the movement. It follows rather than leads.
Yes, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It's a very, certainly a strong movement.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, you're using the hands, which is a nice way of finding the movement. There's studies on girls in sport who apparently have, I don't know, 4 times the level of concussion that boys have. And they think it's because girls' necks are weaker, so that they're not actually protecting the skull. And they think girls' necks are weaker because they haven't, as children, done all the rough and tumble that boys have. So they haven't actually strengthened their necks. So that when there's a hit on the skull, it actually, the neck is not stabilizing the skull. So strengthen what racing drivers have to do amazing work, Grand Prix, because Julian follows Grand Prix, they have to do amazing work strengthening their necks to cope with the G forces because they're dealing with huge G forces and that's held by the neck. So I think I've become aware that strengthening the neck is hugely important, and my neck is feeling much more linked to my body. We've talked about freeing the neck for decades, but nobody talks about strengthening the neck. I think it's crucial.
That
Chris.
feels quite,
Mhm.
that feels quite good, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
freer and stronger. It was sort
Freer
of,
and stronger. That's it, isn't it? Yes.
interesting. It sort of feels like it's because I'd kind of got half of that. I'd got the sense that I needed to not crunch in, but lengthen back to come forward. But I hadn't got the full superficial back line as part of it.
Yeah.
But it really felt like it was actually I was actually lengthening out of the neck. So it was quite interesting.
Yes. Yes. Because as I say, the classic crunches, they're just shortening. And
Yeah, yeah.
one needs that really full lengthening. And then the flexors at the front of the spine can come into play in a way that actually is in balance. Um, Yes, we're really using those flexors, but they are coming into contraction out of an expanded place. And it's that paradox, isn't it? That they would contract most strongly when they're most expanded. Um, yeah. And then from there, as you say, you were talking about going into reaching for one knee and then the other knee and so on. So it's the same principle that you're coming up and reach and coming up and reach. So it's then you can put the side twist on it as well.
Yeah.
It's coming out of this first. I find that every time I do one of these, if I'm doing a set of exercises, I put my head down between, I actually stop and momentarily and just think my deep front line again, so that I'm not, because if one's doing a whole set of exercise, it's very easy just to get into pushing
Yeah.
it, stop and think it. And it's getting much easier. So having been doing this for a year, it's getting much easier to just bring it in. Whereas to start with, I really had to stop and give time to bring it in. So that I really was getting those muscles engaging, not just going for it. Because gyms and exercises are end gaining processes. It's finding the space in that. And again, the more I do exercise, the more I find myself being able to take the space in it in order to find my directions before I make a movement. Yeah.
Mm.
Chris, how are you doing there? Did you?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good journey. And I'll certainly review it later. Um, yeah, yeah. I like the initial directions down into the coccyx, which I hadn't thought about before. That really made my pelvic floor very spacious in feel, which was good. And then the direction up the front was great too. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think we can bring that in too much when we're in strength
Mm.
situations. It's just so stabilizing, whether you're on your treadmill or whatever. Yeah, but they've got you doing weights as well, have they, Chris?
Oh, very small. Yeah, just very light ones, about 2.5K. They're going forward and back and up and down, and
Yeah.
there's curls and right out to the side and things like that. So I just really stand there and direct strongly through the head, neck, back,
Yes.
and think of the little finger leading the movement or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thinking about the
yeah,
opposite side of the body leading the
yeah,
movement is a
yeah.
great one. Yeah. But
Mm.
just working the body. I mean, it's just, that's half of it. It's just
Well, that's what's important. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, quite.
just regaining all your strength, like it's been drained.
Mm, mm. So, do you want to do explore the 'cause there's one more exploration we can do on this if you want, which
Yeah.
is um this thing of lifting weights over the head. Um, so, and it's again finding this deep front line and the neck in it. So if I curl down and then I lift the weight behind me, then I can really sort of be straining in my shoulders to bring it up. But if I think from the base of the shoulder blade to start with, that pressing down and my hand can lengthen away then, and the arm is supported right from the base of the shoulder. But also, if I think this deep front line and into the front of the neck, then the two together, I can bring the weight up and curl up. And then if I'm going into one of those twists, if everyone does this movement, that again, I can think that cross pull to take me into the twist. So the pulls we've done today are really central for gym work. So is
Mm.
that one you've done? Is that one do you want to have a go at that?
Yeah, you can have a go at that.
Because it's again this
Well,
all these really strengthen the deep front line. And if we do need to lift a suitcase onto the rack, um, we're doing that. Sandra, we've lost. Can you drop your camera down?
Oh,
I
right.
suggest you use a heavy book. You've got a very thin thing there. Get if you haven't got a weight, just get a heavy book because actually putting a bit of weight, as Elka was saying earlier, it makes you engage things if you've got a weight. Yeah, just doing it without a weight. I mean, it's nice, but you'll feel the difference if you actually are working against a weight. That's it. So now to bring it up again, Elka, think into the base of the shoulder blades, and then think your deep front line as well. That's it. So that then you can curl up.
mm.
That's it. Yeah. How's that?
Yeah.
And then slowly coming down, slow, 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 and then supporting that weight back right from the base of the shoulder blades. So you can take it right back onto the floor, and then to get it back again, right from the base of the shoulder blades. So that that's it. And then you've got that deep front line as well, which also is helping as when it brings you up. That's it. Yeah, lovely. That's it, Sandra. Right from the base of the shoulder blades now to come up again, or even to support it down. And then the deep front line as well, this deepest part of the deep front line, so that as you bring the weight up, you're curling up. And you get up, you might need to shoot your legs out to get up. Sometimes one needs a little shoot out of the legs to get up. That's it. So deep front line, up you come. The weight actually helps. That's it. Yes, 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 yes. You're there. Great. Well done. Yeah. So hold it in towards you, hold it into you when you go down, because otherwise it's too much of a pressure. And then you can really curl down vertebra by vertebra from the base of you. That's it.
Oops.
And then you can take the weight back. And then right from the base of the spine, right from the base of the shoulders, and then the deep front line. Not quite. Paradoxically, a heavier weight helps. I'm not quite sure why. If I use a 4 kilogram weight, I don't even have to move my feet. A 2 kilogram weight, I do. That's it. Yes, did it. How is that?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's good. Just given a just another piece of the puzzle to the bits that I was struggling with. Got some ideas about how to think that through.
Right.
And that was doing the twist was much better, having that deeper connection and that superficial backline as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And just taking it a little bit further up. I think I was doing it a bit, but I wasn't really taking it fully into the skull.
Right. Yeah, and it makes a difference to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it helps the neck be looked after.
Yeah, absolutely. Just watch me one more time. I'm keeping the weight into me as I come down, taking it back up, and then forwards, and then bringing it back into me. One of the trainers I watch online, she just has the weight here all the way. She can get up with the weight there. I can't. I have to stretch it out, and sometimes I have to stretch my feet out. The stronger you get, I always had to shoot my legs out. Now I don't so much. So the stronger you get, the more you don't have to do the compensations. But bring the weight back in so that, because if you're coming down from here, if you're really going to be pulled back. So keep it in to come down. Yeah.
That's good, thank you.
So I think that really impacts when we take something above our heads, because saying if I send something above my head, the temptation is to let that happen. And again, that's really where that deep front line, I'm just going to engage my deep front line and you can see what happens.
Yeah.
I can then drop it behind and bring it up again. And everything is really stabilized. I'm also using that back of the shoulder. So, and whenever we're lifting plates down from the top shelf or whatever, this is really stabilizing line. I think Alexander was using this, though he didn't know how to name it. So it's stabilizing the lumbar spine and the neck spine together, so you're not being dragged back into curves as you do something overhead. Are you able to take your arms up now, Chris, safely?
I'm avoiding that
Sorry?
for the time being. I'm avoiding that for the time
Yes.
being.
Are you supposed to avoid it
Yeah.
for the time being? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Just too much stretch on this region.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. Time will come.
yeah, no, it's just got to sew itself up.
Yes, quite. Yeah. Giving it time to do that. Yeah. So we have 7 minutes left if anyone has any requests.
I do.
You do.
I do, yes.
You don't. You
I
do.
know, I'd like to know a little bit about focal dystonia. I have a musician coming who is getting a lot of strain in the forearm, and so what I've been working on is getting him to just organize the larger connection of the arm into the back before dealing with more release or micro releases in the forearm, hand, shoulder, etc. So I was just wondering what your take is on focal dystonia.
Remind me I don't know it in that name. It's where things go into spasm, isn't it? And
Well, yeah, he's getting a lot of like he has to he wears a thing around his wrist if he's been practicing too much, and it's just overuse.
yeah,
And he's
he's a
not dealing.
violinist,
No, guitarist.
guitarist.
He's
Which
good.
hand?
Yeah.
Which hand is it?
Now I think it's the one that goes to the neck. I think it's the left.
Yes, it's the way
Uh,
you're describing it.
this
It's that.
one, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Hmm.
it's I think when everyone's dealing with a stringed instrument, it's what they tend to do is contract into the instrument. Um, and one really needs to find that length. What I work with them on is let me just find one of my little rulers. Um, you remember when we worked with the cup and just letting the hand come to the cup and just explore the cup and having thought out
Hmm.
first, finding the full extension first, then letting the hand just come back in and just explore the cup,
Yeah.
and then eventually take hold of the cup. Well, I do that with musicians, first with a cup or something like that, and then I might do the juggling, getting them to, catch a ball just by letting it catch. So they get the idea of the hand just responding to the situation rather than feeling it needs to grab. And then I get them doing that with their instrument, just, encountering the neck of the guitar in ways that are just sort of feeling the keys and just taking away all assumption that when I come near the neck of the guitar, I do that. And that really helps free off the patterns.
Right.
And then from there, you can I just say, invite yourself to make an A chord. Just let the hand come round from behind onto the strings, and they know their hands knows where to go. Let your hand know where to go. Just let it sort of fold onto the guitar, let it come round, let it just come from behind and over so that you get this extension onto the strings rather than a contraction onto the strings.
Right.
So what
Okay.
I've just described there is 5 lessons worth at least.
Lovely. Thank you.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, it does very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I've played with some of that. The fingertips moving away from the elbows and space in all the joints, etc.
Yeah.
Um, and doing that one where you just get the hands on the table and put your hand on top of them and get them to think about releasing and just
Yeah.
allowing the shoulders to drop, etc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. What we're doing specifically with this, I mean, and I think the cup is a very good way of doing it because the hand just comes round and suddenly you can hold the cup.
Mm.
And my cup's got quite a lot of tea in it. My fingers are actually working quite hard, but there's no imbalance anymore, so that it really is held from the back. So I'd
Right.
work lots and lots with different weighted objects that he
Yeah.
doesn't get the weight of, so that his hand really just has to respond, and then just the
Mm.
fingers do the hand just does the work.
Yeah.
And then working with something like a ruler.
Yeah.
Just can I bring the finger onto the ruler and then allow the pressure onto that ruler to come from behind. Now I'm sort of demonstrating a violin or a cello position here. Guitar is more here, but it's the same principle, whether it's violin, cello, or guitar. And when you get it right, if they grip onto that, then if you come along, you won't be able to move that finger. But if they get it right, then the finger is actually exerting quite a lot of pressure but I can come along and just take it off. So they can exert, just try that with a ruler right now or something, a book.
Mm.
Um, so always find send the fingers away first and let them open out back to the book. And then just have a hello to it first. So we've not got any assumption about what's going to happen. And then when you're ready, let the hand just fold around and then just let one finger, it's as if it's sort of coming up and over. The sense is coming up and over onto the finger, onto the thing. And then if you keep sort of pouring the finger up and over, you can actually put quite a lot of pressure on it, but your other hand can come along and just lift it because there's no grip there. And you can get immense pressure, but with no grip. And then you can walk the fingers along your book or
Yeah.
whatever doing this. I mean, I worked with this violin teacher for a year when I was 14. She taught me this when I was 14, and it was months and months and months of practice. I think that the
Mm.
Alexander one can quicken that, but
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. And don't get him doing it with the guitar to start with, getting him doing with rulers or books or cups or whatever. How's that?
Right.
Was that a different experience? Could you find?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, if musicians will take the time to relearn that, it's just a whole different experience of handling an instrument. That
Mm.
actually brings their whole body then into resonance because there's no separation. He might notice when he does that, get him to notice whether the tone of the guitar then changes.
Right.
Because usually you see a really big change in the tone of the guitar because their whole body becomes part of the resonance of the guitar.
Right.
There's no block. So
Mm.
it's a double benefit.
Mm-hmm.
The other one for guitarists, of course, is that sometimes they do have to really go down to get, one of these chords that's way up the neck, and they do have to do a fold in for it. And then what they need to remember is come out of it again,
Yeah.
because that's what they forget. They go into the curve, and then they end up staying there,
Yeah.
struggling away in this curled up position. Come in for one
Mm.
of those chords, come back out again. You don't need it for all your chords.
The the finger pulls. I think it seems to me that you've revised it a number of times.
Yes.
And you sent me the latest picture of that, which was really good. I'm assuming that the first one is I pull the base of the thumb to the mid thumb, and I pull the mid thumb to the base of the little finger, and I
Uh,
pull the
I think no, the pulls are still the same. I pull the I pull the base of the thumb away from the base of the palm. I pull the base of the thumb away from the base of the third finger. I pull the little finger away from the base of the thumb.
Okay, so
So the
maybe I've
pulls,
just
the
misread the
pull,
arrows.
yeah, the pulls are still the same as in the book. The only thing that changed was in the book I did that as the base of the thumb and the base of the finger. I did the crease as the base, and it was Gabrielle who pointed out that actually that's not where the joint is. The joint is further down. If you actually feel your finger, you can feel that
Mm.
the joint is actually here, not here. That's where the crease is, but the joint is actually here. So
Yeah, I
if
saw
we're
that.
body mapping that, that's what we're doing. So that's the only difference, but the pull is still that way, and then that way to open the palm. Does that compute?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because I think you've revised it a number of times, and I've got lines going in different. I've scribbled things out in my book and things like that.
I
And yeah,
think the lines themselves haven't changed. What changed was this idea of where the joint was. I think
All right,
that's the only thing that's really
I'll
pain.
investigate it, and if I still have issues with it, I'll send you an email.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's again, your guitarist will benefit from that, and he'll benefit from doing it, adding in the pull to the armpit and the pull to the elbow, so that it's not just the hand, it's the whole
Mm.
opening of that area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good for teaching inhibition as well.
Yes, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's that little checklist. Did the hand move first? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we find that was a somewhat different session. That was fun.
That's good.
But I think fitness work, the Alexander's old idea, just tell them to stop exercising. They don't need it. That doesn't wash in the modern day. We've got to find ways of
Still
integrating what we're doing. And it's there. And I think he didn't have to exercise, nor did Miss Goldie, because they were actually taking people in and out of chair all day, every day. They were exercising.
Yeah.
None of us are working that much. Okay, now if we look at 3 months' time, that's beginning of December. We could do Thursday, the 11th of December, if that.
That's fine by me.
Okay. I think for me at that time of year, it's 7:30 in the morning. If we're going for 6:30 Melbourne time again, are we?
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So I think I'll check, but I think for me at that time, that's then 7:30 in the morning. That's fine.
I think we'll be in, yeah, I think it'll be a different time for me. So
Yeah, exactly, because you're in summertime. It's usually, what time was it for you today?
Today it was 4:30. I think it'll be
Yeah.
3:30.
Oh, do you not summertime shift?
We don't.
You don't, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do.
Yes. You do. I know, Elka
Mm.
and Chris.
I do.
So
Yeah.
can you work that one out, Sandra?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Right. Okay. So I'll put it in for 6:30 Melbourne time, and hopefully it will come out right on all your different systems.
All right.
And I will
All right.
point out to Brenda. It's a different time. Good. Lovely.
All right. Thank you very much. And
Okay.
thank you, Elka, and thank you, Sandra. It's good.
Thank you.
Welcome. That was fun. And Chris, safe healing. Keep healing.
Thank you. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
It's
Good.
another journey.
Another journey. Yes, they don't stop.
Yep.
See you all
All right.
then.
All
Right.
right.
Take care.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.